One, two, three, four. I guess I'm my own imaginary friend when it really comes down to it. I've been a performer, a clown, an actor. I was a musician for a little while, writer. So I guess it's just me living in my own little world. I mean, I spent a lot of time reading stories, folk tales, myths, legends, things that I'm just really excited about. You know, stories from the Middle East, from Japan, from ancient civilizations, from medieval Europe. Seeing how I can thread them together, how I can bring them into what I'm working on. I've done that a lot in different stage shows that I've been in back when I was doing performance art pieces and plays up in the Northeast. Am just I like to play pretend. I like to find the story and see where it's going, whether I'm writing it, whether I'm performing in it, what my part is to play in that, whether it's as a character or as a facilitator.
This man is risking it all, putting his life on the line as he runs into his burning house. Look there.
Well, so I got the call while I was at work. My wife called me, fiance at the time, and says the house is on fire. I'm still about a mile away, and I can see the volcanic plumes of smoke going up into the air. And I was like, oh, that's probably our place.
And there he is again, emerging from the flames, soaking wet from the fire hose. He's alive, and he's got a black bag in his hand. So, what's in the bag that made him do such a dangerous thing?
Because the entire area is quarantined off by about 6 fire trucks that just have the entire area blocked off. Now, I jump out of my car and I just start running, and that's where that shot comes from. The one that's the whole like. In fact, I was at the mall later that week, and somebody yells over like, "Hey!" I look over and he's like,
Look there. You can see him sneaking past firefighters to get into his home.
So I walk outside and it was quadplex. So there was 3 other families that were completely displaced from this, and they're all standing at the corner, street corner, watching everything we own go up in flames. I walk up to them soaking wet, and the first thing I can think of is like, "So how's your day going?"
Gideon Hodges is a published novelist from New Orleans. His first book is in the fantasy fiction genre, part 1 of a 7-book series. For Gideon, there was a lot at stake.
And I got him to chuckle, got him to laugh a little bit at that, and because I think at that moment we all really needed to smile. So with Statue was interesting because it kind of came out of my circus background. So the director of Statue, Andrew Ryan, he had either, I think through the grapevine, heard about my mime performances. I had done mime and clown in a traveling circus show in the Northeast. So when I did the audition, he was already kind of familiar with my work. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a chance to play a character that's a little bit different from your run-of-the-mill stock characters, and that's kind of what I love, is anything that's kind of kooky or off the wall or kind of strange is what I enjoy doing. Gosh, I mean, I lost count of how many film festivals that thing played in. I was hearing about a new one every other week. It's a lot of fun working with Olga. She is a great performer, and then that actually ended up being a foot in the door when I got brought on to Last Exorcism 2 to play pretty much the same character. In between takes, they actually left my tip cup out, and I had a couple people put a few dollars in there. I think I got coffee with it that morning. Repchi's Daughter was a funny one because the way I got discovered by that director was I had been in a play called Last Days of Judas Iscariot, and in that play I had met a couple of other actors, talked, fight choreography had come up, and then the director, through word of mouth, found out, liked my performance, but found out about my fight choreography background.
Demonic!
Big sword fight in Repchi's Daughter. Sorry, spoilers. And that was kind of why he was willing to try me out for the role of Balioni in the first place. So the sword fight itself was ungodly long. It was a 10-hour day, endless takes. I don't even remember how many takes. I know I was exhausted, I know I was sunburnt, I was really warm, and I had to go take a crap in the woods.
He would sacrifice all of mankind, himself included, to add but a mustard seed to the great heap of his knowledge.
But isn't that of a noble spirit? Are there any men so capable of such a spiritual love for science?
God forbid.
And that was the beginning of a long-standing relationship with that director, then in other movies, commercials, music videos with him, and it all started from doing a stage play, so you just never know.
Taste it.
The man has offered up his own daughter as victim to his insane zeal for science. What then will be your fate, Giovanni?
Yet till this moment, there had been no seal of lips, which when they are joined, even his doubts will lack substance.
So, the Buffy and Angel routine was part of, actually, Percy Fanny and I have done that routine a couple of different times at some different festivals. And what's funny is when I first met her, she was doing a show, a Nightmare Before Christmas show. She was Jack Skellington, and I was in the crowd. You're not supposed to take photos of the show. I was friends with the troupe, and I was capturing a couple shots for them to show to them later. Percy had no idea who I was, so she waves her finger at me the first time she sees me do it. She looks away, she comes back, I've got my camera out again, so she takes my phone away from me, and I don't get it back until the end of the show. Percy's she's an actor, she's a performer, great movement on stage, and just a lot of fun to work with. She's another one that has become a very close friend through performance. I have been fortunate to work with a lot of amazing people and make a lot of wonderful friends. Her now fiance, Richard Mayer, owner of Old Marquet Theater in New Orleans, gotten the chance to do a number of performances with them and had a blast every single time.
Dude, I just found the perfect job.
Yeah?
Teaching English to foreign people.
So 20-something was my foray. Okay. So 20-something was my foray into producing and writing comedy.
Тупые американцы думают, они такие крутые.
What?
I had a lot of fun with it, but I didn't necessarily. I don't know. I wasn't ever sure of the audience response that I got from it. Episode 8, which was teaching as a second language, was me just making fun of something that I never really understood, where you could go
if
move
you
to
have
another
any
country
questions, I'm gonna need
and
you to
teach
ask
English
them.
in that country and not have to speak their
Как ты
language.
стал учителем? Вообще, что за это английский урок?
What is that?
Твой брат?
And that's really what's going on, is just me kind of cracking jokes about that, because that concept just never made sense to me at all.
The answer needs to be in English.
То, что ты говоришь медленно, не помогает.
You know, I feel like we're really developing a rapport here.
Надейся, что никогда не узнаю, где ты живешь.
Huh?
Lenore, my beloved little.
So, Lenore is actually a combination of different stories and poems by Edgar Allan Poe. So in this story, it is about this man not being able to move on from the loss of his beloved. I got to play Death, which was awesome.
Odin's guardian now haunts your domain and seeks to flee with your beloved to the eternal Plutonian shore.
She is here?
Yes, but only as an apparition of your own ego and nothing more.
I think I mentioned earlier that I just like playing goofy, wild, strange characters, and the more different the better. And playing a character like Death, there just are no rules, you know? There may be some preconceptions, but it was a character that was just very different from anything I'd taken on before. And the language in that movie is so much fun. I mean, it's almost Shakespearean in tone, and I had so much fun. And the actors were fantastic. Danielle Knight, who is Lenore, did an amazing job. She was wonderful to work with.
Cruel and heartless collector.
And so, my love, why don't you rise from your wintry rest and explore with me love's labyrinth?
And when I first met her, the first day of set, I appear in her bedroom and hover over her in her bed. And I mean, that shot took like 3 hours. So I'm literally like this close to her face over and over again for 4 hours. So I shake her hand in the morning. I'm like, hi, I'm Gideon Hodge, and I'm going to be all up in your grill for the next 4 hours. So I'm going to go take some Tic Tacs, and I'll see you on set. So now we come to it, the Clown Prince of Crime. The first time I was cast as this, I was so excited because, honestly, outside of the Mad Hatter and the Cheshire Cat, I would say the Joker is one of my favorite characters of all time.
Oh my God! What happened to the entire left side of your body and continuously your suit? Oh, you got to do something right there. Get out of our face! Which one?
And I've been playing him since 2013 at theaters in New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi, across the coast, and into Atlanta with companies like Four Suits, Old Marquet Theater, and the Fandom most recently. I have a blast every time I get on stages for this. They're normally comedy shows, so I'm doing more classical style version of the Joker. You know, I've had some people ask me, like, why don't you try to be more crazy or scary? And I'm like, that's not the show.
Comically oversized syringes.
I can't say I'm surprised you screwed it up hard. I mean, this is way over your head. I mean, how could you even expect? Look at it!
And what about? Let's see what we can do about that high and mighty stance of yours.
But in the meantime, I've been having a blast. I've been opposite 4 different Batmans at this point, and I'm ready for the next one. So I know at the beginning we started with who is Gideon Hodge, which I don't know. I guess I'm constantly asking and reviewing that question. I guess the next question is where to next. And I mean, I've got a ton of projects in flux. I don't really see the point in talking about something until it's ready to release. But I am always enjoying the journey. I am always looking to improve, to learn, to have new adventures and make new friends, and to see where the path takes me.